Good afternoon, dear students, alumni and guests. My name is Professor Grażyna Rębielak, and on behalf of Warsaw University of Technology Business School, I warmly welcome you all to today's inspirational lecture. I want to welcome students and alumni of our university, of Warsaw University of Technology, in particular from our business school, of our partners, our guests, especially from Sheffield Hallam University, Baltic Management Institute in Vilnius and in Brussels, Goa Management Institute in India, HEC in Paris, the Management Center in Innsbruck, Polimi Graduate School of Management Politecnico di Milano, the University of Salford in Manchester, Zicklin School of Business Baruch College, New York City University, and the University of Minho in Portugal. Today, the inspirational lecture will be delivered by Dr. Sandar Win from Sheffield Business School, Sheffield Hallam University in the UK. Dr. Sandar Win is head of division at Sheffield Business School. She is also an academic with a significant experience leading international research project with a strong focus on Southeast Asia. She is the Principal Investigator of a British Academy-funded initiative Building Research Management Capacity in Thailand through collaboration with Prince of Songkla University. The topic she is delivering today is Developing and Sustaining International Research Collaborations, Opportunities and Challenges. Before we start the lecture, I would like to take an opportunity to invite you also to the next inspirational lecture within our series, which will be delivered on 16th of December by Professor Sergio Terzi from Polimi Politecnico di Milano, entitled Circular Manufacturing and Twin Transition, a must-do step for global collaborative manufacturing. Okay. And now let's focus on tonight's topic, which is very interesting. And I want to wish you a good time with Dr. Win. And after the lecture, you will be invited to ask her questions on the chat. So, Sandar, you are more than welcome to start your lecture.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me just put this on the screen. So I hope everyone can see it. I'm one of the I'm from Sheffield Hallam University, one of the partner institution of the Warsaw University of Technology, and I'm Sandar Win, and I'm going to be delivering the topic on navigating the complexities of international research collaborations. So before I talk about the topic, I want to give a brief structure of how I'm going to do the presentation. I know that this is being recorded, and then this will be shared to other attendees who have registered. So, which means that I'll be delivering this topic to different types of audiences who are new to international research collaboration, and some who have already got prior experiences of collaborating with international research institutions. So whenever people talk about research, they think that it's only for academics, but research is not only for academics, but it's also for people who are in practitioners or for-profit organizations and non-for-profit organizations. And because people do a lot of market research. So whenever they are doing this type of research, they can be collaborating with international research institutions and partners. So again, I want to make sure that this topic is relevant to different type of audiences. So the first part is for people who are new to international research collaborations. And the second part is for people who have already got some prior experiences of international research collaboration. So in the first part, we'll be talking about my own research and how I have been working with international research partners and to clarify the concept of what international collaboration is and not, and the type of collaborations, and some of the essential success factors for building and sustaining impactful international research partnerships. And the second part is to talk about different practical pathway for those who are for international research collaboration, for those who are already experienced, to expand their collaborations through grant applications and different funding mechanisms. So who am I? I'm Sandar Win, and I'm a head of division for finance and economics. And I'm also currently the interim head of the division for marketing, enterprise, and events management at Sheffield Business School. So I have been doing a lot of research projects with profit and not-for-profit organizations, and also for governments and the UK government and other policymakers across different countries. But most of my research projects are mainly in Asia. And especially in the Southeast Asia region, Thailand, Indonesia, Myanmar, Vietnam, and so on. So those are the type of international collaborations that I have been engaged in the previous projects. So these are some of my international research publications, which are published in Q1 journals, and some of my previous and existing international research projects. So the first one is related to the post-conflict reconstruction in Myanmar. I was a principal investigator there, and currently I'm leading a research management capacity strengthening of universities in the UK and Thailand. I'm also a PI, project lead there, and it is funded by the British Academy. It's a UK-based funding bodies. So why do we do international research collaboration? Tackle global challenges. So again, there are a lot of things that we can improve in the global south and emerging economies, and the developed countries have got the resources to support them in tackling some of the global challenges. Climate change is not something that is happening in one country, and it needs to be resolved across country collaborations. So to tackle global challenges, access to diverse expertise and resources. Again, Global North has got more resources, financial resources, skills, and expertise. So by collaborating with those research institutions in the emerging economies, we are able to, the emerging economic institutions can gain access to diverse expertise, expand data and contextual reach. If you're an academic, you already realize that many of the theories are developed in the Western theories, and sometimes they are not applicable to emerging economies. So by doing the collaboration, we can test whether these theories and policies that we design in the West are applicable to the other parts of the world. Increase research visibility and impact, definitely. It's also good for individual researchers and also for your own profile. So your research becomes visible to not only in the UK, but also in other parts of the world. Strengthen funding opportunity. This is quite an interesting one, because when you're doing international research collaborations, you are not only gaining access to the funding resources from the UK, but you're also gaining opportunities to apply for fundings in the other parts of the world, where the governments are providing funding. So currently, I'm trying to gain some funding through some government bodies in the emerging economies to continue some of the research alliances that I already have. So this is where you can strengthen the funding opportunities. Foster capacity building and equity. Again, when I'm collaborating with countries like university in Thailand, I'm able to support them in terms of building their research management capacity, how to tackle ethical, how to do ethical research, and to connect research and practice. That kind of thing is something that we can achieve through collaborations. And enhance culture and intellectual exchange. Whenever we talk about research collaboration, it's not only about research. The other things that we can get from research collaboration is to establish student exchange opportunity. So currently we are in discussion about opportunities for student and staff exchange with other institutions through our existing research collaborating institutions. So there are a lot of opportunities that we can establish through collaborating international research. So what are the different types of international research collaborations? The first one is about co-authorship and scholarly exchange. It is through, co-authoring research papers with international partners. And bilateral collaboration is something that we collaborate with institutions in 2 countries. Or multilateral collaboration, it's 3 or more countries. That type of collaborations. Thematic networks is like, if you have sustainable development goals and challenges, then we may have this type of international networks to tackle some of the SDG goals together. Capacity building partnership is usually happen between the developed country institutions and the developing country or emerging economies institutions, where we help them to strengthen their policy making methodology, or improving their research skills, research management capacity, that type of partnerships. Joint research center or lab. Sometimes what we do is that we establish a research center through a collaborative research, and of course policy engaged research alliances. So sometimes we try to influence the policy making at other institutions or other countries, governmental level. So those type of research alliances can also be part of the international research collaboration. What you will see from here is that from the top to the bottom, the type of network or that you'll be collaborating with also increase, the number of stakeholders also increase. But again, the more network you have, the more challenging it can be. But at the same time, you will have a good impact. You can have a lot of impact on different type of impact through your own research findings. So so these are the different types of research collaborations. Personally, I have done most of them except for the Joint Research Center. I haven't established a joint research center yet with the international research partners. But I have to say that from the beginning, the co-authorship to policy engage, if I have to say which one is the most difficult, it will start from the last one would be the most difficult, because you will be navigating a lot of things, especially the government. It's not easy to navigate with different type of governmental requirements and policy makers. So where do we start? I think the biggest challenge is about how do we start an international collaboration. The first step is the most difficult part. The first collaboration, the first project is usually the first failure. First failure is not a problem because you are actually starting it. But some of the key ingredients for the international research collaboration is networking. Attending conferences, attending workshops, which is really important. And the networking can be international conferences, international workshops. We do have it a lot. We do invite in our Sheffield Hallam University. We do have a lot of conferences, international conferences, where we do invite academics and practitioners across the world to come and present their papers. And maintain connections with your network. I think many young academics or early career academics, they don't do much often is to maintain the connections with the networks. Once they've gotten the networks, they don't try to maintain it. So the most important part is to maintain the connections through LinkedIn platform, and then connecting with the mailing list, etc. And another one is be familiar with the funding opportunities and developments in the area of research. You always have to keep up to date with what the areas of developments in your field. It's really important. And don't be shy to reach out to the experts and potential collaborators with complementary skills and knowledge. I think I'm quite personally, for me, I usually reach out to people if I feel that they can help me with the project. I'm always looking out for people who can give me complementary skills, skill set. I think because I know that one person cannot be expert in everything, so it's always good to collaborate with people from different parts of the world and with different skill sets and knowledge. Start from small collaborations. I think if you are quite not comfortable with leading a big project, start from a small collaboration. It could be writing a blog article, writing a research article, collaborating in a small project or small research project, or organizing a workshop, just to understand the type of people that you will be working with. If you think that this person is not good at what they are doing it, or if you feel like you don't have a good chemistry, you might not be working with them for a bigger project. You might, so it's a less risky approach to start to get to know with the potential research partners that you are working with, or something that if you're ambitious, then if you have a good chemistry to work with in a research project, then you might want to collaborate with them for a bigger project. Again, professional credibility is important. So how do we have that separation of professional credibility? Keep doing the research and publishing consistently to establish that professional credibility. So I think this part is where I will be talking to people who already have good prior experiences of doing some international research collaborations. So through grants, and they want to take a bit further through research grants. So I think this is where we'll be talking about the research grant applications process. Of course, if you are new to the research application grant, then it might be also helpful for you to understand different types of mechanisms that you need to be engaging in when you are preparing for the application. So when you're applying for the international research funding applications, you need to understand different type of landscape across the UK and international. Again, what I was saying in the beginning is that when you're collaborating with international partners, it's important for them to let you know different type of opportunities or funding opportunities that the UK institutions can be having access to. Right now, the UK research funding landscape has become very competitive. So what we also be doing is that we are collaborating with international partners so that we can have access to different funding opportunities in different parts of the world. So this is these are just some of the funding bodies that we have in the UK, but there are a lot if you look at beyond the UK actually. So when you're applying for the fundings, you need to make sure that you understand the funders' requirements, eligibility for funding, etc. Of course, there are also support guidelines and so on. So the questions that I'll be asking if I'm applying for the funding is, do I have the time to be a principal investigator? Do I have the knowledge and confidence to be a PI? PI in a research term is called project lead. And co-investigator is like a deputy project lead. So you're supporting the principal investigator. A research team is where you are just part of the team who is responsible for a deliverable or small deliverables, not the overall project. I have to say that being a PI is very, very challenging, and that if you don't have the experience and knowledge or the confidence, I would not recommend people to be a PI. But if you have been a PI for some time, then you might want to, if you have been a co-I for some time, you might want to take the next step by being a PI for a small project. But if you have been a PI for a small project, then you might want to be a PI for a bigger project. So I think this is how you should be applying for fundings and leading a research project. I think the biggest step is the challenge of doing international research collaboration is risk assessment. Is because even when you are doing research in the UK, there are risks. But if you are working with countries in like emerging economies, like in different parts of the world, you have to do a lot of risk assessment and make sure that you have a backup plan. Some of them is political and institutional fragility, corruption. So when I'm doing research in the Southeast Asia, I have to make sure that I have to conduct a lot of due diligence to ensure that I'm partnering with institutions which are not sanctioned by the UK government, or it will or moral and ethical concern, especially in some part of the Southeast Asia region, the corruption is high. So what the UK funding body always wanted us to do is to make sure that the funding that they are providing is not funding the institutions or the governments which are going which are at risk of human rights abuse and so on. So we have to be very careful in that type of area. Another thing is about the environmental and climate vulnerability. So whenever you are doing international research, you have to be thinking about how your research can be disrupted by the natural disaster and so on. So for example, when I was trying to conduct a research in Philippines, and immediately there was an earthquake. So we have to make sure that there is a backup plan. As a PI, I'm responsible for people. I'm responsible for my research team, and I have a duty of care. So it's really important that I have to, I make sure that my research teams in the Philippines or in other parts of the world are safe to conduct the research project. Another one is security risk. So currently, I'm doing research. I'm doing a partnership with an institution in Thailand, which is located in the southern part of Thailand, which is quite prone to some conflict and and instability. So I would, whenever I travel there, or when my teams travel there, or when my local research teams are doing research there, I need to make sure that they are safe and that they do conduct due diligence to make sure that they are conducting research in a safe environment. Health risk, definitely. Pandemic is a good example of how pandemic has impact on the international research collaboration. So you have to be very careful about these type of risk assessment. Depending on the type of countries that you are, where your research partners are located in, you have to do additional risk assessments. And when there are high risks, then you might want to change the research questions, different type of research methods in discussion with the international research partners. The priority for us is always is the safety and security of the research teams. Just because we are based in the UK or in a safe area, we still are responsible as a project lead. We are still responsible for the safety and security of the people who are working in those part of the world. So that's why PI is a very challenging role. Another one is navigating the international procedures. So if you are partnering with institutions in different parts of the world, you need to make sure you get approval because they will be able to support you in completing the research project and make sure that you are in a safe environment and support you when you are needed. So it's really important that that the internal procedures for funding applications are followed. And always submit it before the deadline. So it's important to meet the deadlines. But yeah. So expectations of international partners in grant applications or research collaboration, the most important part is to have open conversations. I used to work with some researcher in Southeast Asia, and the culture there is that they don't like to say no, because saying no they feel that saying no is not good for them. But actually sometimes when you're collaborating internationally, it's important to be open about some of the challenges that you are facing if you are an international partner, and have a discussion with the project lead so that the project lead can support and have a backup plan. Because as a project lead, we always have a backup plan to in case of different type of risks that we encounter. Set clear timelines and also to understand the culture. So as a UK researcher, we always have to make sure that international partners are willing and are able to present us with the challenges that they can foresee in the future. So yeah, I think this is really important part. Managing the expectation is the biggest challenge, and also to understand the culture of the international partners is also important. So I have to say that final thoughts about international research collaboration: it is impactful, it is rewarding, but it carries a lot of risk. So I think these are the things that I just want to share in terms of the international research collaborations. And thank you for listening, and I'm quite happy to get questions from you if you have any. Okay, stop sharing. Any questions? How did it start for me to get funding? I think it's about always seeking opportunities all the time. I would say making sure that I look at different funding opportunities. If I'm in the UK, I already know like British Academy research grants, small funding opportunity, ESRC, and also by going to conferences and workshops and having a good mentor who can help me directing at different funding sources. I think these are the very important aspect of starting to get the funding, and collaborating with people, which is really important to get the funding. Getting out of your comfort zone, it's something that I really recommend. Yeah, it's not an easy one, but it's good to start. Hope I answer your questions. Is research part of my contract, or if I'm a self-starter? Yeah, research is part of my contract, definitely, and I'm a self-starter. I'm both. I always love research. I'm quite passionate about it. I think that just being part of your contract is good, but at the same time, you need to be a bit entrepreneurial, because the funding is usually given to people who have got a new idea, new research. So being an entrepreneurial is quite helpful in that aspect. Okay. Okay. So I'm not sure if you have no question, then I can leave. But if you can leave the chat or the webinar, I'm not sure. I don't think and no one is coming from the Warsaw University of Technology. So yeah, I'll be here for another 2 or 3 minutes. So if you still have any questions, then happy to answer. Can we give an example of a research project you have done recently? So it's on my LinkedIn. I think if you have seen the website, the advert for the webinar, you'll see you have my LinkedIn, and I always share the research projects that I have on the LinkedIn. And I also have a research gate, so you can check out some of my research projects and the findings from there. So currently I'm doing a research project in Thailand, which is to support them to improving their research management capacity. When I say research management capacity, is to ensure that they know what ethical guidelines are, how to do a good costing methodology, making sure that they know how to uphold the duty of care responsibilities that they have as a research institutions. So those are the things that I'm currently working on. So yeah. I do have quite a few of research projects, so it's really hard to point out which one it is, but there you can get more information about my research projects, publications, and so on. Okay, so if you don't have any questions, then I want to say thank you for coming, and that I have my LinkedIn. And if you want to keep in touch, please do so. I also welcome any potential collaborations that you would like to have. Quite happy to have a conversation with you.